Right, what's up guys, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So today's video is going to be a BGS returns video, and I was expecting this would just be an express return video, but essentially what happened is the standard submission that I sent out in May ended up, just by pure coincidence, coming back at exactly the same time as the express returns. So we're going to go through both of them now in the same video, starting with the express returns because these are kind of, I guess, the bigger cards. So this is a submission I sent out last week, I believe. It came back really quickly. This was BGS's special offer where they said if you sent them some cards by, I think, the 13th of December or something, they would get them turned around with the express pricing rather than the premium pricing in time for Christmas. And in the end, it only took, I think, 2 business days for the submission, which is really impressive, and I was pretty happy with the grades too on the whole. So getting right into the cards, we're starting off with a Mystical Elf. This is a Wavy print Mystical Elf, and it got a BGS 9.5 with Quad Plus Gem Mint subgrade, so I was very happy with this. I bought this as a PSA 9 earlier this year. I thought it looked way too clean to be a PSA 9, to be honest. If you take a look at it, it has like 0 whitening whatsoever. The surface is really clean as well. Definitely a pack fresh card. Centering is not perfect, but to be honest, it's pretty good. It's a little bit shifted at the top towards the right, but overall, beautiful card. And I'm happy we were able to get that Quad Plus Gem Mint grade on it. Next up is another really cool card. This is a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon from Magic Ruler. This one I considered sending to PSA to get a PSA 10. This was from the same collection as all of the other secret rares that I graded a while back as PSA 10s. And I for sure think it could have got a PSA 10. With BGS, I thought it had the outside chance for it pristine, which is pretty much why I sent it. And we ended up with a Quad Plus 9.5. So overall, still a really decent grade. Again, it's a beautiful card, very good centering, really clean all around. I was hoping we'd get the 10 on surface on this one, which is very difficult to do for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But this Blue Eyes Toon Dragon is really about as clean as it gets. So I did think it could do it. In the end, it didn't, but hey, Quad Plus 9.5 is still a great grade. Never going to complain with anything like that. Next up is another one of those secret rares that I considered sending to PSA, but decided to go with BGS. This one is even cleaner and better centered than the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, so I really thought this one had a chance for that BGS 10. Honestly, this is probably the only card I ever sent where I would say that I wouldn't have been surprised if it came back a black label. Sadly, it did not. We just got the BGS 9.5 again with Quad Plus subgrades. 10 on corners this time and 9.5 on the rest. It's not a ridiculously bad grade or anything, so at the end of the day, I'm still happy with it. I'm not going to crack it, but this is probably one that will go off for review at some point to see if we can get a bump, because it is really just beautiful condition all around. Literally as good as it gets for a Yu-Gi-Oh card. And centering is really solid as well, especially on the front. So yeah, one day we're going to get this to a BGS 10. The final few cards from the Express submission, these are all faded cards. So here we have a super faded Gaia the Fierce Knight Wavy print from LOB. Now I bought this as a PSA 8 from a friend of mine on Instagram. I thought it looked pretty clean, like pretty much a pack fresh card overall. So I decided to crack it and resubmit it with BGS. I did think this would get a 9.5, probably with a 9 on centering and the rest 9.5. We actually just got a BGS 9 on this one, and centering was a bit surprising to me. So the centering is definitely a little bit off. It's a bit tilted, and it's a bit off top to bottom. But for me, this is really not an 8.5 on centering, so I was a bit surprised by that. Especially seeing as the other centering subgrades in the submission seem to be fair on the whole. So I don't know what the grader saw with this one, but still a very cool card to have as a 9. We did get those 9.5 edges and corners subgrades. I may resubmit this at some point, but I have a 9.5 in Wavy print already. So it's not really something I need for my collection, just a really cool extra to have with that fade. Next up is another really cool faded card. We got a faded and wavy Blue Eyes from Star Deck Kaiba. So these are very difficult to find with that combination of being both wavy print and faded. This was a beautiful card that I sniped off eBay a while back. I had been looking for one, and finally I got the chance to pick up a mint copy. Again, I was hoping for a 9.5 on this. We got just a 9 overall, very close to the 9.5. We got 3 9.5 subgrades, and then sadly the 8.5 on surface. I'm not sure if the fade affected the surface grade at all. I don't think so, because the other cards were fine. This maybe had a couple of the tiniest surface issues on the back, but it was definitely pretty clean overall. So this is another one of those cards I'll consider either cracking or sending for review. But even as a 9, this is an absolutely gorgeous card. I'm not sure how many of these, both wavy and faded, are graded 9 or higher. Definitely a very small number though. Alright, and the final card for the Express submission is a faded, wavy, unlimited Trihorn Dragon. So this is one of the easier cards to find, both faded and wavy and unlimited. Either one, there are plenty of them out there. The reason for that is that pretty much all wavy unlimited packs are hobby packs, so you get Trihorn Dragon as the secret rare, and you can also pull this from 1.5 print booster packs as well. So there's definitely a bigger print run than other wavy unlimited holos, but at the end of the day, a wavy unlimited holo is a wavy unlimited holo. It's never going to be easy to find, especially not in mint condition and with that kind of fade. Now this is a really clean card. I did think this would get a gem, and that's what it got. We got a BGS 9.5. It got a 9 on centering, which it's not completely like impossible to understand. It is a little bit shifted downwards, but left to right is really good. Back centering is really good, so I did think this would get the 9.5 centering. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have a 9 on centering than any other subgrade like surface or something. So overall, still a very solid grade and a very cool card to add to the collection. Okay, so that's the end of the Express submission. Now we're going to get into the Standard submission. So this took, let's see, from May. So that's, I think, 6 months to come back, which is a lot longer than I was expecting when I originally submitted it. And I think the price on this was $50 per card. This was a very disappointing submission on the whole, a lot worse than the Express submission we just went through. So we're starting out with a Wavy Red Eyes Unlimited. You can see it's pretty off-center, so I thought centering on this would be an 8.5 for sure. It wasn't going to get like a 9 overall for centering, and then so it had no chance at a gem essentially. But I did think this would get a 9 because it's a pack fresh card. Really beautiful condition front and back. We got a BGS 8.5 on this. The grade I just find difficult to understand. So the 8 centering, I would say, is pretty harsh. To me, that's an 8.5 really, what you're looking at there, with left to right being centered and top to bottom being shifted, but not like terribly shifted. And then it got an 8.5 on surface as well, which I really don't understand the surface grade on this whatsoever. It may have like a couple of little print dots on the back or something, but it's a pack fresh card. It has no scratching or anything. So really, for me, the surface should not be lower than a 9 and should probably be a 9.5. So that's a big disappointment. This one I will resubmit, maybe to PSA, honestly, because I think this would get a PSA 9 without a problem, but we'll see. Then another Wavy Unlimited card. This one is in less good shape. It's a Wavy Unlimited SDK Blue Eyes. And I submitted this before I had the faded copy that we've already seen in this return. So I didn't expect a good grade on this. I was just hoping maybe for like an 8.5 or something, so I'd at least have a graded copy to match my 9.5 Dark Magician that I already had. And the grade we got was the BGS 8.5 overall, so I was pretty happy with that, to be honest. The surface 7.5 is, I think, like a little bit harsh. The front is nice. The back, I think, has some scratching, but it's not like a played card or anything. But overall, I think the grade is right because the corners and edges are both actually pretty generous. I don't know how easily you can see it, but there's quite a bit of whitening on this card, edges and corners. So overall, the grade balances out to pretty much what I thought it would get. And I'm fine with this one. And it's probably for sale, by the way, if anyone happens to be interested, because I have that faded 9 now that's in better condition anyway. Next up, we have a bunch of Ultimate Rares. Starting off with a North American print UFO Fighter. This one I expected a 9 on, so fair enough. Pretty happy with the grade. I think subgrades are all probably about right. I just wanted it slabbed because I have all of the other Ultra Ultis already graded, so it's kind of cool to have the complete set. Then we have some European print Ultimate Rares. Here's a nice Euro Power Bond. Now this one I definitely expected a 9 on. We got the 8.5 overall with the 8.5 corners and 8.5 surface, which this is a pack fresh card. So yes, it does have some whitening because most Europrint cards do, but especially the surface grade, I guess it has like a little bit of Ultimate Rare stamping or something, but to me it's much too harsh. And this is something I've noticed with BGS in general, is that for European Ultimate Rares, they really just do not grade them fairly. So in future, I'll probably sub all my European Ultimates to PSA. Because even if I don't necessarily get 10s there, they tend to give 9s without a problem, even if the stamp is reasonably visible, whereas BGS will just absolutely slaughter you on the surface grades, even when the stamp is barely visible whatsoever. So now we're back to a North American print from CRV. This is a skyscraper. This is another grade that I didn't really understand. I actually subbed this thinking it would have a chance for a pristine 10, because centering is amazing. Surface is literally flawless on the card. Corners are really good as well. And edges have like 1 or 2 dots of white, but they're still good enough for a 9.5 edges, which is actually what it got. But somehow the surface ended up with a 9 on this, which again, to me is just like baffling. I mean, North American print Ultimate Rares from this era don't even have like the stamp or anything like that. So this is pretty much a flawless card as far as the surface goes. And I have no idea why I got that 9 on surface. So that's pretty unfortunate. Again, you can see this standard return was a lot less good than the Express one overall. But still a cool card. It did get a 9.5, so I'll probably keep it as it is, seeing as it's not a very high-end card anyway. And it's still a cool card for the kind of hero collection. Then we have one more from Cybernetic Revolution. This is a Euro print Wing Karibo level 10. This one wasn't as clean as some of the other Euro ultis. Like, I wouldn't describe this card as pack fresh. Overall, I did think BGS 8.5 was the most likely grade, maybe with a slight chance for a 9. But overall, it's not that clean. I think even surface has a couple of scratches and things on this one. So it got an overall grade of 8.5 with a couple of 9s. So honestly, that's solid. I'm completely fine with that on this card. And that's like one of the better grades for me in this submission, because even though it's an 8.5, I actually expected it. Whereas with a lot of these other Euro ultis, I thought they could get better, and they still just got absolutely hammered. So here's one card from Elemental Energy. This is a Euro print V2C Dragon Catapult Cannon. This card has really cool foiling. I already owned a 9 before, but it had like damage on the back from the encapsulation. So I sold that one a while back, and then I was looking for another copy because I really like how it looks. Eventually, I found this one. I thought it would get a 9, and that's what it got. Pretty decent subgrades overall. In this case, I think the 8.5 surface is actually deserved, because even though the card's packed fresh, it has like some dimples in the surface. I think you can see one of them there, which is just the actual cardstock, essentially imperfections in it from the factory. Like before the card is even printed, there were these things which they look like dents, but they're not actually dents within the cardstock itself. So that's a cool grade. Very, very cool card. I think this is pretty underrated, so I'm glad to have another 9 back in the collection. Then we got a pair of Sacred Beasts. I already have a Uriah graded as a 9, so I kind of just wanted to have a complete slabbed set of them. These are both European print and with the Gold Eye of Anubis. You can also get them with Silver Eyes of Anubis, which are not fakes or anything like that. They're just kind of a minor misprint, I guess. Now with these, I expected an 8.5 on the Uriah, on the Haman, and hopefully a 9 on the Raviel. We actually just got 8.5s on both of them. And whereas on the Haman, I think these subgrades are completely fair, because it had, again, some of those factory dimples on the back and some corner issues and stuff. The Raviel, I was kind of disappointed with. I thought this could get a 9, and I thought if it didn't get a 9, it would get probably a bad edge grade, because it does have like one more visible chip on the back edge. But somehow, edges came up with a decent grade. They got a 9, whereas surface and corners, which in my opinion are both completely fine on this card, like especially the surface should be a 9.5 in my opinion, got lower grades. So it's always a bit disappointing when the subgrades on a card don't really match up to the actual condition. But at the end of the day, it's at least the same grade as the Haman, so they kind of match in that sense. And I love the foiling on this card. Looks awesome. So we're almost at the end of the whole return video now. There are 2 more cards to go through. One is actually another Wavy Unlimited Trihorn Dragon. This is a copy which I subbed obviously quite a long time before I got the faded one, which we've already seen in this video. This one is not faded at all. It's pretty much full saturation, so it makes quite a contrast to the other copy. A really, really clean card. I thought, again, this could get like a quad plus, 9.5, that kind of grade. And the grade we got, sadly, was just a basic 9.5. Again, with that 9 on surface, which happened to a lot of cards in this submission. I'm actually not sure off the top of my head. Yeah, I think we did not get a single 9.5 surface, in the entire sub. So that kind of shows you what kind of grader we had, because that was pretty much a sub full of pack fresh cards. There were like 2 or 3 cards which were not pack fresh, but all of the others, including this Trihorn Dragon, in my opinion, had mint or better surfaces. So pretty crazy that we didn't get a single 9.5 surface. I'm not really sure what the grader was expecting, but at least we got a gem on this, which is probably one of the cooler cards in that part of the submission. If I just bring back the other one, you can see the difference between like a kind of full saturation and a really faded card is pretty significant. Like the background color is so different on the 2 cards. Stars are really different, and even like some of the colors on the monster itself are different. Faded cards are getting really popular at the moment. I've been thinking about maybe making another video on them, just in kind of going into more detail, because I never expected them to get as much attention as they have got recently, but they are really hot at the moment. I've seen some crazy prices on them. So yeah, a couple of really cool cards to add to the collection. This one I will definitely keep as it is. This one, I'll kind of think about it, because in a way it's cool to have them as matching 9.5s, but the subgrades on this are really not reflective of how clean the card is. If I flip it over, you should be able to see it's really, really good condition-wise. So I may either send this for a review, resubmit it to Beckett, or maybe even resubmit it to PSA, because this one should get to PSA 10 without a problem. The faded copy I wouldn't do that with, because PSA would very rarely give a card with that kind of a fade a gem mint grade. But yeah, that just leaves one card left to go through in the submission, and that is a Wavy Unlimited Gaia the Dragon Champion. So this is probably the card I was most excited about in the submission in terms of like looking at it from the perspective of my own collection, because as far as I know, there are no other graded copies of this card in existence. Like, let alone talking about a high grade, I have never seen another copy. There was one PSA 5 which I actually bought and then cracked for my binder, so one copy has been graded. As far as I know, there are no others which are actually still in the case. So that gives you an idea of how rare this card is. And this one's in really nice shape. It's by far the cleanest Wavy Unlimited example that I've seen. I sent it hoping for a 9. Realistically, it wasn't clean enough for a gem, but I would have been happy with any kind of 9. And we got a BGS 9, so that's really cool. With 9.5s actually on 3 of the subgrades, which is more than I was expecting. And then the 8.5 surface is maybe a little bit harsh, but to be honest, it's probably fair enough, because from what I recall, it did have some light scratching on the back. It's hard to see through the case either way, but I don't think it was completely mint surface-wise. So yeah, very cool card. Almost a gem mint set of Wavy Unlimited Secrets if this had gone 0.5 higher. But as I said, I didn't think it really deserved it, so I'm very happy with it as it is. And for me, this is probably the highlight of the standard submission. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this BGS return. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, you know the drill. And with that being said, this is Schlost signing out, and I will see you guys all in the next video.